Hi, I'm Ultra Marathon Man Todd Marentette.
I'm Ultra Harvey Steinhoff.
And we are Renegades.
Renegade is what happens when two ordinary friends dare to practice the lost art of conversation to better understand what it means to be a runner, a human. Should we follow convention and play by the rules? Or would it be better to trust our guts? Each episode you'll learn from the experts, the underdogs, the elites and non-elites, those doing big things, all in that curious quest of being just a little bit better tomorrow. In a world of runners, be a renegade.
Welcome, Ultra Harvey. He's in studio today, everybody. He's joining us live in studio.
Excited to be in the Renegade studio.
This is where the magic happens, Harv.
The magic happens.
Right. And if you listen to the last couple episodes, Runkle was talking about Tito was back commenting a lot of our slurping. So Tito, this is for you. We're enjoying a nice cold Athletic Light. Why are we drinking Athletic Light?
We just came off the trails. Did a little training run.
Was it a training run, or was it more just trying to stay up and upright because it was kind of slippery?
It was a little slippery, but man, I gotta say, Tito, you gotta try this stuff.
That's good.
Athletic Brew, Tito.
5 grams of carbs, 25 calories. This is
that slurp was for you.
So, Harv, we were talking about it, and we were on the trail, and we were looking back. It's the end of the year. We've been doing the podcast for a year now, and it's like, how did our year go?
Well, a lot of running, a lot of training intense. Did we follow through with that training? Some will say no.
Well, we trained. I don't know if it was well.
We don't know what we were training for. Not a whole lot of races this year, but we definitely gave it a go.
Yeah, that's where we had an idea, maybe to explore. And that's what we're going to explore on this episode of the Renegade, is the anatomy of a failed marathon. Because if we're examples of anything, is that, you know, we've learned from great guests. We've read all the books. We watched all the podcasts. We just haven't pulled it together yet.
And I won't say that it's a fail.
True.
We finished the race. We got out there. We gave it our best. Our best just isn't up to everybody else's standard.
Yes. You know, if you were to compare against what maybe others think we should run, and there's lots out there, we're not running super fast, but we're having fun. And you know what? So it's anatomy of a maybe underperformance at a marathon, a major marathon. And so, Harv, which majors have you run?
So I started with Chicago, did New York, Berlin, and 2025 will bring London, England.
That's right. So that'd be 4. Same here.
Same as you.
Harv and I have been blessed. We run the same majors, except Harvey ran Chicago this year, and I ran New York. So it's our first time we ran separately. And I was lost because Harvey came to New York to work an aid station. Not my aid station, but they came to volunteer because you need good volunteers. So shout out to all those volunteers.
Yeah, I would highly recommend if you put your name in for a world major and you didn't get in, go volunteer. Enjoy the fun. You're still part of the crowd. You're still part of the team. You're still going to feel that marathon spirit. I highly recommend it.
What made you think about volunteering this year versus running? What was that like?
What made us think of that? Well, that was more of a Julie thing. Julie, she volunteered before the lottery was done.
Okay.
So
she just wanted to go to New York.
She wanted to go to New York. So we kind of talked about this on the trails. We do these world majors. We go to these cities. We explore these cities because running to us is maybe different than what running is to other people. We don't want to just go out there and run the race. We want to experience the city. We want to experience what everything has as a whole, not just the run itself.
Yeah. Yeah, like, you're right. For me, it's not about the race. Maybe when I first got into this, I wanted to race those times and achieve that. But it's fun to be at the event, just being absorbed by the people. I mentioned that this year at New York. I met so many really great people, and it's fun. So for sure. So Chicago this year, New York this year. Let's start. What was your time at Chicago? How did you finish?
Ooh.
Do you even know?
This time,
this might say everything.
Yeah, does time really matter? I'm going to say that I agree and I disagree with you when it comes to time not mattering.
Okay.
I still shoot for being better than I was. I just know I'm not going to be better than these guys running the Olympics or these guys winning the races or any of the lead pack. I'm never going to be in the A division, but just to be better than I was the year before. And unfortunately, in Chicago, that wasn't my case this year. But
you weren't in the lead pack.
I wasn't in the lead pack.
You were in the Corral A.
For sure.
I'm surprised.
No, I wasn't in Corral A this time. But we had a nice surprise when we finished. Again, Julie volunteered, and she happened to be volunteering at the beer tent, and things were good from there.
Well, the beer would help.
The beer helps, yeah.
The athletic brew helps. When I break down these major marathons, like the things that you and I have chatted with about and what we learned is, number one, a big part of the major marathons is actually getting in the right corral. And for Chicago, do you know how the corrals work? Are you allowed to put in a time, or do they use your time?
For Chicago, I believe if you've ran a previous Chicago, they use that time.
Okay.
And if you want to have a better time inputted, you have to prove that time.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's how Chicago works. I don't understand how some people get into their corrals because you always have people out walking in front of you, which unfortunately makes it a little more difficult for us people being honest, putting honest times in there. But you do what you got to do. Yeah. You weave in and out. I know our first Chicago, we ended up putting in a couple extra kilometers on just from the weaving.
It's true. I think I ran 45 or 43 kilometers. It was a lot of weaving. Mm-hmm. And so that's something when you think about it. If you're out for a personal best, if you're trying to get your PR, maybe the major marathons might not be the best. New York is the same thing. I remember for New York, our first one, I think it was 2022, we were allowed to put in a time. And I think we put in 3:30. And we were training like that. Honestly, we were training for 3:30 and we put on all the workout. And it just didn't go. That's a tough. I'm not going to lie to you. That's not tough. And why it didn't go is the course was tough, but also the lead up. And we can get into that too. Like, what are you doing before these races that contribute to your race result on race day? But you're right. So like that corral placement is everything. New York is the same way. After that first year, it knew our time and it put us in the right corral. And this year, I think I was in the 4:30 or 4:40 corral. And even in that corral, there are some that are out running 4:30s. I was hoping to break 4. And there were some that were probably out walking right away. So that's just something to kind of consider. I'm with you. Corral placement's really huge.
It's key, yeah.
What else have you learned from a major marathon that we haven't ran to our potential yet, but we will one day?
Hey, Renegades. A big part of the Renegade Podcast is sharing with you, our listeners, the stuff that works for us. And we have an excellent friend of the podcast, Path Projects. Founded in 2018, they're focused on functional designs, innovative materials, and apparel that looks great in the city and gear that excels on the most grueling of trails. They offer a complete range of technical gear and apparel for today's modern athlete, and they're constantly innovating. New in 2024, they brought us their Graves PX Shell running jacket, a whole new lineup of technical tees featuring their Tensolite T19 jersey material. It's soft, the perfect fit, and it just performs. They brought us their Wadi collection, ultralight meets UV protection, offering a tank, a tee, and a hoodie. And now the Montera collection, a jogger, and a hoodie. All-day sweats with serious performance chops. Ultra soft, 4-way stretch fleece, allowing you to smoothly transition from daily wear to cool weather training. And for our listeners, use the code TRP10 for 10% off your order for a limited time. And we'd like to thank Path Projects for being a great friend of the podcast.
We discussed this on the trails today. I might have touched on it a little bit. Definitely when you're going to a world major, it's typically a city that you haven't been to in our case anyways. It's a city that we haven't been to, and we're out there pounding the pavement, doing tourist stuff, looking at some of the buildings, some of the famous spots, doing the things that you want to do when you go to the city. And then when it comes to race day, you think, man, I put on so many miles prior to the race. I'm not well rested like we should be. So we know that that's a big part of it. It's more like a tourist trip for us.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
and that's
don't
what's
know.
fun about it. Like that's what we love about those major marathons. You're right. So if you're out, if you just want to have a good time and finish the marathon, you will at a major. No worries. If you're trying to run your PR or your personal best, you might have a little bit tougher go of it. And if you're bringing the family with you, enjoy with the family. Like our first New York, I think we were putting in like 25,000 steps every single day for 3 days leading up to it. That's not ideal unless you train all summer for that. And we didn't train all summer for that. And also, Harvey, I remember this. I think it was our second New York. You ate some street meat.
I ate some street meat. Oh, yes.
Yeah, and you thought you thought it was the pasta that upset your stomach, and I'm like, are you sure it was that pasta or was that souvlaki from 11 p.m. on Times Square?
I might have had some spicy pasta in Hell's Kitchen the night before too. I don't think that. Maybe I should stay away from the spices the night before. But that's the only problem I've ever had at a marathon. So,
yeah. So are you saying that you haven't had the urge to defecate? We see some of those runners out there having
no,
those disasters.
Definitely not. I think another problem that we've had with most of our world majors so far to date, every time we go to run a race, it's historically warm compared to normal. So the heat, obviously, we know as runners, we sweat a lot more. It's going to create problems for us, and every single world major that we've done so far to date has been warmer than normal.
Yeah. So if you think of so far, we got Corral placements big time. The travel leading up to the event, this travel in the city to see that can be a contributing factor. The weather for sure.
Weather. Yeah.
We ran that New York 3 years ago on that like 80-degree Fahrenheit day.
Mm-hmm. Very unheard of.
I look like a wet seal.
This is November. Remember, this is the first week in November. You're out there and you're stripping down to the least amount of clothes as you can.
Yeah.
I remember I handed Julie my ultra buff on the sideline, and it was just like I just threw it on the ground because it just dripped.
She threw it on the ground. I think she was dry heaving.
Yeah, it was. You could have squeezed it out and filled up a cup easily. So the temps definitely contribute to that.
And that's stuff out of your control. Like there's nothing you can do except during your train in all weather conditions. So if you're really gunning for your PR at a major marathon or any marathon, get out there in all those conditions. They say that heat training is the poor man's altitude training. It hasn't worked for this guy yet.
Yeah.
We live in Southern Ontario. We train here all summer in the heat and humidity, and it hasn't helped yet.
And I prefer the heat when I'm training. I think
you like the heat.
I like the heat. I'd rather sweat than have to put on more clothes. I don't like the cold. A day like today was a nice day. Not too cool. It started out really cool, but once you start moving, you get a little bit of sweat on. It feels good.
Yeah. And I think that's like if I had to think about a fall or any of the major marathons, when you think about the time of year, you hear like the Boston, the weather can be impactful, the wind, the heat usually because it's early in the year. London, I think it's always kind of gray and iffy. I don't know. Well, now that we said that, we're going to London next year.
Yep.
It's probably going to be 95 degrees
Yes.
and humid. So I'm banking on that. And then the fall ones, for sure. So it's maybe like preparing for a hot marathon. And I don't know, you have any tips and tricks that you prepare for a hot marathon?
I could give you all the tips and tricks that I could think of, and you would train.
What about the ones that worked for you?
Well,
or have they worked yet?
I would say you would do them. You would prepare for the heat, and just the luck. It would be a cool day. Yeah. It would be something you train. You always got to train for everything, because you can train for the heat, but you can't predict what the weather is going to be in 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, a year. So I would say just keep training, keep your feet moving on the pavement. Make yourself sweat. I know I'm a sweater.
Harvey's a sweater. I run with Harvey. You're a sweater.
I will sweat.
And that's why we like our Path projects. It performs really well. The Wadi collection, it manages the sweat really well. It's got that nice, I think it's Kyoban Florist. I probably did a terrible job sharing that, but it's from Toray, Japan, and it's a material that wicks the moisture away. And for guys who sweat, it performed really well in the summertime. These are the Tensolite shirts. This is just like a buttery soft fit. It's like really...
It's got a nice stretch to it. Nice feel.
Nice feel.
I like it.
Makes us look good. Makes us look good because we look pretty bad with no hair. And I'm with you. I'm with you about what I like about the, training for heat. What do they say? You got to get out in the hot part of the day. Get out, learn to run with, being hydrated, learn to run with maybe a little bit of food in your stomach, put a little bit of stressors on that'll help build that resiliency on a hot day. And I think about the summer. We did a 30 mile or a 20 miler together, and it was hot. We did at Point Peely.
Into the tip and back, yeah.
So that's our famous run. We started at Harvey's house and we run to the tip and take some photos, and we made it out. But it was warm that day too. And I was thinking, you know what? This is money in the bank. This is like putting money in the bank. It's going to help us this fall. It didn't. It didn't.
Well, the problem with the Point is the trees kind of provide a little bit of shade. Kind of breaks that heat, which is great, but it kind of defeats the purpose with the heat training. It's still hot out there, but
well, then maybe let's think about that. Let's talk about the training. What is your training philosophy? What are you following? What did you follow this year to get to Chicago? What was it?
So I went off the norm for me, and I've been following the Garmin. The suggestions from Garmin. It's a little more aggressive. It's a little faster. Sends you out 6 to 7 days a week, depending on what you got it set up. I don't know. I don't know. Successful, unsuccessful, because...
Well, what did you like about it? Like what was the...
I like that it gets you out the door. It tells you... It tells you today you got to work out, so go do something.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if you hit those stats or not. Get out there and see what you can do.
Now, was there like a rhyme or reason? Did you notice, like, was it telling you certain runs on certain days, or were the workouts varying depending on, like, you couldn't find a pattern to it?
So I think the way it works is it sets you up for 3 to 4 days a week at an easy run.
Okay. 3 to 4
your build, and then it gives you a speed run. But every now and then it seemed like it would throw two speed runs in a week. One long run is pretty typical for it. I don't know. I can't figure out the rhyme or reason. I can't figure out what they have behind it.
Garmin can come on the podcast one day and teach us, because Harvey was talking to me about it.
Unproductive, though. Unproductive.
Oh, it's always unproductive. It's always unproductive. But I noticed that when you were doing your training runs and you post to Strava, it would be that you were doing some sort of like interval work.
Intervals, yeah. A lot of intervals.
Some tempo works, a long run. I noticed that the long runs it was suggesting for you wasn't as long as I thought they would be.
They're not as long. So today was supposed to be a long run. It was 106 minutes, I think, was my long run today. Last year, I did, I think, a half marathon minimum every week, sometimes twice a week. I felt good, but not leading up. That was not leading up to Chicago.
So Garmin was basically backing
you down. Yes.
On a long run. That's interesting. That's interesting. If you had to guess, how many miles or kilometers were you putting in a week?
Oh, I have no idea off the top of my head.
This is good because
yes,
Harvey's not following it that close.
I'm not following it close enough. No.
If you know all the details, that's one thing. Yeah. So the training. So like the training that I was following, very similar. I'm part of the personal best program, Flora Skierman, and you know what? It's very similar. Running about 7 days a week. Probably 6 of those days are easy, and by easy, 180 minus your age, with some up and down adjustments. Mm-hmm. So for me, I was trying to keep it below 140 beats per minute as much as possible, like 90% of the time. And then 1 day a week, I was trying to mix in some sort of harder workout. I think I called it like Workout Wednesday or something like that. And I would try to do like an interval or some sort of harder tempo once a week. And that went well. And then I got off track a little bit in July. I wasn't feeling the best. And then so I had to take about a month down. Then I came back up in August. And I found from taking a month off of my training, it was only 30 days when you really think about it. I got back running early August. It might have been 3 years I took off my training because 30 days, I lost everything that I had that I ran for 6 years. I lost in 30 days.
Well, one day of not training feels like a week.
It does.
Yeah,
it does. Like new runners, you're not alone. We've been running a long time. Harvey's been running a lot longer than I have. It does feel like you lose all your fitness. And then I thought mine was coming back around. So I would say August, 6 days a week, easy running, one harder. September, I had a really great September. I was not following my Garmin, even though like Harvey was telling me about it. So I was looking at my suggestions, but I would just try to stick to like a longer run, try to get 2 hours in on a Saturday for a long run.
Mm-hmm.
And I found some short-term gains because I was able to run a really good 10K. I felt really good about that. And so leading up into New York, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try to run a sub 4. And I think I ended up running like a 4:12 or something like that, which is right on. My goal for New York was not to walk the course.
Right.
And anyone who's running,
it's a good goal.
It's a great goal because there's a lot of bridges. And you just got to keep moving. And I always used to find myself around Central Park when you're coming down Fifth Avenue, starting to walk a little bit because you notice everyone else walking. And it's like a magnet. If you see other people walking, you want to start to walk.
That's right.
It's tough. So that was a good goal. I didn't really walk, although I was probably moving as fast as a walk, but at least it looked like a run towards the end. So yeah, I'm with you. The training, I was at my peak. I was just looking on Strava. I think I was probably getting a consistently 65 kilometers in a week. And I think I had 2-3 weeks where I peaked around 85 kilometers running.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of walking with the dog, maybe 10-15 kilometers a week. So maybe 40 to 50 miles. And I think here's what's key though, is during your training, during your long run, what paces were you trying to hit? And how far was that pace away from your target pace you were hoping for?
So my target is always in my head, and knowing that it's going to be a harder target to reach. My training, I also was based off of heart rate for a little while. I was close to a 5 minute on a training run, 5 minutes per kilometer, Canadian kilometers.
That's about like a 9 minute per mile, 30 per mile, I think.
So I was, that would be like my average heart rate. That would be the pace for my average heart rate. All I know is my training this year is down. According to my review, my Strava review.
That's because you shared. Okay, Harvey shared his Strava year in review. in early December. You still got 20 days to go.
Well, everybody's sharing it now.
You can up it. You still got 20 days to get some mileage.
20 days, get some miles. But everything's down. My pace is down.
Well, that's what I was thinking about.
Trying to follow my heart rate a little bit better, based off of the Garmin suggestions.
So then your marathon pace, what were you trying? You were trying sub 4 at Chicago?
I wanted to be, sub 4.
Sub 4. So then that's 5-minute kilometers.
Mm-hmm.
So what pace were you hitting during your long run?
Most of the time I could hit close to a 5:15.
Okay. That's what you're running at. So maybe 15 seconds away from your target pace.
Yeah.
See, I noticed for me that during my long runs, coming from January and into the spring marathon, I was probably running my long run at 5:30 to 5:15, and I was hoping for a 5 minutes. So I'm about 15 to 30 seconds off. And I could easily hit that during my long run. In the summer, I was closer to 5:45 to 6 minutes, and I still wanted to hit that 5 minutes. So I was a minute off. So deep down in my gut, it felt that I knew that my fitness may not have been there because I was so far away from the pace I wanted to run my marathon at.
But the pace that you were running is more realistic for your training pace.
Yes, for
your training
a nice
pace,
long easy run to not induce some stress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. But every now and then you want to maybe mix in the last finish fast, where maybe the last half of that you want to run at your pace. I found it harder to run at my 5-minute pace to the fall. Looking back, that's a good indication that I just wasn't in the 4-minute or sub 4 hour pace zone on a tough course.
On a tough course
with a lot of people.
New York is a tough course.
Yeah. So it starts to when you think about that, and the travel too. The travel was stressful, but we had a good travel time. I think I talked about it in the Dr. Phil Maffetone podcast. We had a great time. Put in a lot of steps ahead of time. When you start to stack stuff, that kind of shows you that there's a science to figuring out what goal pace and goal time you think you're going to be able to run a major marathon. Because the major marathons are a little bit tougher than those local races or a small race.
We're happy to share with our Renegade listeners, coming Sunday, September 14th, 2025, the Windsor Waterfront Half Marathon and 5K, billed to be the flattest, fastest, most scenic, and more importantly, the most family spectator-friendly event. Running along the Windsor waterfront, you have the Detroit River at your side. You have the Detroit skyline serving as that big city backdrop, and it's showcasing all the best of Windsor, Ontario. This is the half marathon or 5K that you've been looking for, the race that you must put in your calendar. On episode 15, Brian Allison joined the Renegade and shared all the detail, the planning, the race day specifics that the team has been focused on delivering. As big city racing comes back to Windsor, Ontario, a short drive across to the U.S. border, this is the perfect tune-up for your fall marathon. And you have the time. Time to start your running journey, time to train for your first race, or time to plan and be part of a big thing coming back to Windsor, Ontario. Renegade is proud to have the Windsor Waterfront Half Marathon and 5K be a friend of the podcast, and we are looking forward to seeing you at the start line, Sunday, September 14th, 2025.
What about nutrition? What did you do in the summertime? What is your nutrition strategy, and how did you do it on race day?
So I don't train a whole lot with my nutrition. I know that's a downfall.
So do you mean that are you doing fasted runs? You just don't take any nutrition, or what do you do?
Sometimes I'll take something with me, but usually it's not enough. Not like you when you're running a marathon and you're slurping the goos or whatever you have. Sometimes you'll have your liquids, that kind of stuff, and I don't follow that as much because I don't want to carry it with me.
Yeah,
it sucks. Sometimes I'll load up my vest when I'm going for a long run, and maybe I'll put something in there, but usually not the same as what they have at the race.
Yeah. I always give Harvey kudos for this because this guy's got an iron gut. I've been to so many races with Harvey, and we've all heard, don't try anything new on race day. Harvey does not care. He does not listen to that. If there's a goo or something brand new, I'll test it out on race day. Give it a whirl. Like,
what's the worst that can happen?
And the worst hasn't happened. So that's the iron gut. Where this guy, I'd have something new. I'm getting better at this, though. Maybe I'll follow what Harvey's doing a little bit more. And we train our guts. It could be a disaster out there. And yeah. But yeah, so nutrition. Okay. So they say, we've had a lot of guests on our podcast, that you really got to practice a nutrition strategy.
I could see where that could definitely benefit you. Practice that nutrition. Your body gets used to using it, digesting it, processing it, getting it where it needs to go.
Yep. I'm with you. So on my long runs, I'm really good at bringing hydration. So I'll have my water, and in the water is usually, some sort of electrolyte.
Mm-hmm.
I like UCAN, so I'll put UCAN in there. And you know what? So I'm replacing the electrolytes. I'll usually pop a salt tab or something.
Yep.
And then I'll usually bring 1 or 2 gels. I would bring more, but they're expensive. So the Martin gels, I love them, but they're expensive.
They are.
And the precision hydration I like too, and they're not as expensive. So I'll try to take 1 or 2. But I know deep down inside, they say that for a long run, practice your race strategy. Or if you're going to take 6 gels, get out there, take 6 gels, because you'll feel different with the energy in you. So that's something that maybe we could work on, is our nutrition.
Yeah, the salt tabs definitely are something that I lack in, because I'm such a sweater and I sweat salt. You'll get that white glaze on the top of this beautiful bald head.
Yeah. It gets crusty.
Yeah, a little crusty. I know I need more salt. I need more tabs. That's definitely a big downfall.
Yeah, nutrition and salt for sure. All right, so we covered corrals, the travel, planning for the weather, our training philosophies and strategies, our nutrition. Are you starting to see maybe there's some room for improvement here? Mm. Maybe why we didn't hit our potential just yet, because we haven't been able to pull everything together. I don't know. What about okay, so what about this? So you're at Chicago now. You got a base, you got your plan, you have a race strategy. How did Chicago go from the corral when the gun went off? What was your plan, and how did you execute it?
So Chicago went the same way pretty much, two Chicagos in a row for me. Great run, first half. Sun comes out, starts to beat your butt, starts to make you sweat, makes you slow down. That's part of the training process that I think I need to improve, is more long distance run, more longer runs, get that endurance built up. I can get the speed. I know where I have to be. I can hold it for half, maybe a little bit more than half. And then my body just says, hey, what are you doing? Where are you going?
When that point happens, the sun's out and you're starting to slow down.
That's right.
What are you thinking about? What's happening?
So I'm looking at my watch, saying, I know I'm slowing down. How am I going to pick this up? It gets in your head, says, why don't you walk for a little bit?
I think Harvey's been running with me too much.
Yes. It's those couple of ultras that I did, You start doing a couple of ultras and it's like, wow, you know what? Walking's a part of running.
Yeah, walking's fun.
Walking, do it. I dare you to. The good thing about a walk is when you walk for a little bit and you rest your body, you can get yourself back up to that pace. Yeah. So the key would be, if you could walk fast enough and still rest, that you're not losing a whole lot of time, the walk, you'll actually benefit from the walk. I'm not telling you to put it into your training plan, but if you have to do it, you're gonna be refreshed and you're gonna pick up that pace right again there.
Yep. Yeah. What you just said rings true to me. When it starts to go south, how quickly our brains will amplify that we're off pace, you're off target. It's trying to shut you down.
It is.
Yeah, and
your mind plays such a game. You'd be better off if you didn't have your watch. I know sometimes you leave yours on just the time.
Yeah.
I think that's we would benefit from that,
Yeah,
not knowing how fast we're going.
Yeah, it is.
The pace.
I used to like be with the watch faces and want all the metrics. Yeah, Harvey's right now. I'm just down to the time of day. But even that, it's kind of bad because I can do the math in my head and I can kind of figure it out. But as the event gets further along, I don't trust my math. I don't trust my math after
for
kilometer
sure.
21.
And you start to see the pacers go by, but they have multiple pacers. So you'll see that 4-hour pacer, that 3:40 pacer go by, not knowing that guy started.
Yes, I know. And you
20 minutes after you, and you're like,
by. You're
wow,
like,
maybe I'm not doing as bad as I thought. But
it's the wrong pacer.
It's
that happens.
Wrong pacer.
Yeah, I've had that. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I know it. From New York, if I broke it down, from the last 2 times, I knew that I wanted to eat better on the island because I starved. I'm a gluten-free guy, so they got food on the island. They have bagels and all kinds of good stuff. But if you're a gluten-free guy, you got to bring your stuff. The first 2 events, I didn't do that. So this year, I brought lots of food. I had I call them the rich roll bars, the Go Macro bars. I love them. I had a couple of those. I brought a banana, had a little bit of coffee on the island. I had some Martin drink. So I was taking enough calories on the island because I'm on the island. You leave your hotel around 6 a.m. By the time you get to your start corral, it's probably 9. So you're 3 hours and then you're resting. My gun time was 11 o'clock, I think 10:40 or something like that. So for 2.5 hours, I was just hanging out eating. So I felt fuller. It didn't impact me, but I felt full going into the race. I'm like, my stomach is full. Like I don't like to run on a full stomach, but I noticed that. Gun goes off, the big cannon, boom, roars, and off you go over the bridge. And I was keeping a pretty good pace. I was trying to hit around 5-minute kilometers, maybe 5:15 in there. I was able to hold that. The sun came out a little bit, and I just found the shade. The secret: find the shade, and just run it. So I'm running along the right-hand side of the route, really close to the fans. They're all thinking I want high fives. I just want the shade. So I wanted the shade. I knew where Harvey was going to be, so I got out of the shade to go see them at the aid station. But by the time they already served their tour of duty,
our tour was over.
Their tour was over, and but the sun didn't really impact me. Really, 10 minutes off a goal pace isn't too bad over 42 kilometers. It's not bad. Where I really slowed off my pace was probably I hit kilometer 35. That's my downfall. Maybe it's in my brain, where my brain looks at kilometer 35 and I just maybe started to slow up an extra 30 seconds, a minute per kilometer. And you still got 7 to go. So a minute per kilometer or 7, there's your time that you're off your goal pace. It doesn't take much, running 5:15 to 6:15 per kilometer that you're off. For my race, the nutrition, I did Martin gels. I popped one 10 minutes before the gun, and then I popped them every 20 minutes.
Martins, yep.
The Martin gels.
Yep.
And I was fine. There's probably a little bit too much nutrition because I wasn't running like sub 3 or, some amazing run. I was just a good average run, but no issues. And it just proved to me that you can actually take a lot of gel into your gut. The secret was the David Roach technique that Alex Hutchinson was talking about with us on one of the earlier podcasts, where you just bypass the tongue. So you open the cap and you shoot the Martin past the tongue onto your palate, and you don't taste it. So you don't have that kind of, I don't want to eat it.
Gut taste, yeah.
That's right.
The gut feeling.
So I think my nutrition wasn't too bad during the race. And my race plan was pretty darn close. I was happy with it. Okay, so now you finished the race. How did you finish the race? After you finished the race, how do you recover from it? What did you do to recover?
So when I finished the race, because we talked about the salt sweating, if I sit down, I can't get back up.
You seize up right away?
I end up getting a cramp in my leg. So I walked past, they give you a free beer in Chicago when you finish. So I grabbed that beer.
We took 2 beers, I think. Don't tell nobody.
I tried, what I'd actually tried to do, I tried to sit down on the fence to drink that beer so I could get back in line and get a second beer.
They probably would have gave him a second.
And they would have. But then this lady came by and said, "Come on, guys. You guys you can't sit here. We got to keep this open. So imagine your legs cramping and you're trying to stand up. I can't stand up at that point. So I actually asked the lady to help me. I gave her my hand. I'm like, can you help me? She goes, yes, I can do that for you. So we got moving again. And then after a little walk, everything is fine. You just need to not stop. I think that's a big key to your recovery. And then get something in your stomach, get some liquids in your stomach. Unfortunately, maybe I didn't get the proper liquids in my stomach.
You got some good carbs. You got some good carbs.
I got some good carbs, a lot of natural hops and barley. But definitely we also got some food into our stomachs, into our systems. We went, because it's Chicago, we had to go for pizza.
Yeah.
We had to
some deep dish.
Yeah, definitely. Had a couple more celebratory drinks, and
then wear your medal proudly. Did you wear your medal?
I never take my medal off until I get home. So, for example, when we were in Berlin, I wore that medal every day, and while we were traveling,
still wearing it.
While we were traveling until I got home. I love going through the airport with it on, right? And
that's right.
I gotta take this off? What do you mean?
Well, it's well earned.
Yeah. So, yeah.
You know what? There's very similar. So at New York, when you finish New York, it's a long way to get you to move. I would say it's an extra mile. It's a mile.
It's another marathon, isn't it?
Feels like a marathon. But you know what? Like, I finished. My legs were fine. I was wearing the Vanish Carbon 2s. You were wearing the Vanish Carbon 2s for your race, I believe.
No. I was wearing the 1s for those. Okay. We didn't have the 2s. The 2s didn't come in time. So I wore the 1s.
So you had the 1s. I had the 2s. They saved the legs. Like, I find my legs were fine. What I found as I crossed the line, it was getting cooler. So we had the poncho on, and they gave you a little bit of food. And the biggest concern I had was my phone was completely out of battery, and I'm trying to find Jen. So I just said I'm going to come out of, I forget what street it is. Like, she knows the streets. I know nothing. I just kind of know where to go. So we met up, and we had some photos. Proudly wearing that medal. Took the subway back to the hotel. Mm-hmm. I took probably the world's longest shower. Like, it was like 30, 40 minutes of just hot water. It was great. And then I lied down on the couch, or lied down on the bed, watched the Lions game. Mm-hmm. And we went out for a really good dinner afterwards. And I feasted on a dinner, like steak, potatoes, big salad, a little bit of everything. My appetite isn't the biggest after the marathon.
Right.
But I still enjoyed everything. Had a couple athletic brews. It was fantastic downtown at the steakhouse. Remember that steakhouse that we went to? It was right by the hotel. Mm-hmm. The name will come back to me at some point. And then for recovery, the next day, a lot of walking. So the next day, I made sure, like, we did another.
Get right back into it.
You're just walking through Central Park. So that's the key. Keep moving so you don't seize up. When we first started doing marathons, we would rest. I would come home and I would spend I'd take a day off of work and I would spend a day on the couch. Mm-hmm. And then I wondered why it took 2 weeks to feel normal. Now it's just keep moving.
Keep going.
And then how long after the marathon did your running start to feel normal again?
I would say probably a week, maybe 2. But I had that itch to get running again.
You had the itch.
So it was less than a week. I was back moving. Okay. It wasn't fast, maybe, but I was moving. Wasn't long run. Just keep your feet moving. I don't like that sit still feeling.
For sure. And what does that look like for you? So you're back running easy now. Mm-hmm. Were you thinking about time? Were you thinking about pace? Or are you? You just
want to move.
You just move.
You just want to keep moving. It doesn't even matter if you go out and you want to go for a walk.
Yeah.
You just want to keep your legs moving.
Yeah, I'm with you. Mm-hmm. Very similar. I say I finished New York. In the back of my mind, I knew I had JFK 50 in 3 weeks after. So I think I took 4 complete days off of running. And on the 5th day, I wanted to run. So the 4 days I wanted to run. It's not like I didn't feel like it. Mm-hmm. I intentionally took 4 days off. I would still walk and take the dog out. So I was still getting my maybe 10,000 steps in a day. I was still moving. And then on that 5th day, I just got back into it. I went out for maybe an 8K 45-minute run.
Right.
And then, you know, and then I would get back into a couple long runs. So I had 2 weeks where maybe I did my first one was like a 15K back, and then I did a 2-hour, and then I went and did JFK.
Right.
I finished JFK almost the same thing, where I just took 4 complete days off, and the body wanted to run the 5th day.
Yeah.
And since JFK, this is like mid-December, it's been about 3 weeks, I'm just running super easy now. So maybe 6:30 a kilometer, 7-minute kilometers, a lot of trail running, just slow movement. And maybe one day a week I'm running 5:30K, maybe picking it up a little bit, but I'm really making sure I'm listening to the body, that I'm not putting more stress on, because I know a marathon and ultra back to back like that is a big stress on the body.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something the watch is pretty good on, because you look at your HRV, the heart rate variability, and right after JFK, right after New York, it dropped a little bit, bounced right back up. After JFK, it dropped like a rock. And the 5th day, it started to pick back up. But it's been about 2 more weeks to get back up to normal. So without that, and if I wasn't thinking, I might have just got right back into training.
For sure. Yeah.
I'm trying very careful to go slow into training, because we got London in April.
London, yep.
So
we need to find something before, maybe after. We got other things we got to look into. If
our listeners, if there's a race that you think that Harvey, maybe Runkle Mark, we can get him to come with us to do, it could be a 5K, 10K half. Tell us. We would love to come and check out the races. I'm with you. We got to book something before to test us.
Just give it a little pre-run. Pre-race race.
Pre-run.
A pre-run.
Okay, so now that we talked about this, how are you going to change, or are you going to change your training this winter for London?
You know, pretty hard-headed. I've got a few things. Nutrition. Definitely. I know in the past when I ran my PB, my PR for a marathon, nutrition was a big key.
But it was your diet.
The diet.
The daily diet. So
daily
this guy
diet.
was by the book.
Daily diet, by the book.
If
no
Julie's listening,
alcohol. Julie, do I do it again?
Do you want the chicken again? Like Julie always talks about
chicken every day.
Eating too much chicken.
Yeah. So you basically it was on the macros. You want to make sure, make sure you have the right amount of proteins, the right amount of carbs, etc. That really worked for me. Took about 20 minutes off my PB.
Yeah.
But I've never been back there. I've never been back
until April.
The alcohol kind of kills your run. So Athletic Brew.
We love you.
You have an Athletic Brew for me.
I find that nutrition, I would say I'm pretty dialed in. I like my nutrition. I eat a lot of meat, a lot of vegetables, try to stay off the carbs. I've stopped alcohol. I never liked the way it makes you feel and really messes up sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're training for something and you don't sleep that well, that's like an extra stressor. So for sure, so you got nutrition, you're going to dial.
I would say that's number one for me.
Yeah.
Am I going to change my training, my pace, my miles?
Are you going to follow Garmin? Is that what you're going to do?
I'll probably stick pretty close to Garmin. Okay. The reason why I like the Garmin, I'll tell you the 100% truth, is because it loads everything to your watch. You don't have to.
It is very high.
If anybody's out there that has a training plan that you can load to your watch like this, I would do it.
Yeah. I
would do it. I've spent the time manually going in, entering all your training. This day you're going to do that. This day you're going to do that. And it pops up on your watch and it's easier to stick to. It's a lot of work. And the other reason why I like the Garmin one is because it's adaptable. It measures your heart rate. It measures your intensity. You let it know, hey, you know what? That was a hard workout. I felt like I was going to die. And then it changes the workout for the next day. It doesn't.
It predicts your race.
It will
result.
predict.
So what's
your
it
race.
predicting right now for you and London?
It's predicting. We go calendar. No.
I think it just
races.
Are you tracking the race on your calendar?
Add run. Oh, that am I on?
Because on mine, I add the London Marathon.
It should be.
And so it knows the date, and it's tracking like Harvey all the metrics, and it's predicting that I can run London in 3:43. My goal 3:59:59. Because like we said all about kind of earlier in the episode, we want to make sure that we're factoring all that in.
I had an update the other day, and I think it bumped it out. Yeah.
But yeah, I know Harvey's VO2 max is higher than mine, so I would say it's probably predicting like in the 3:30s for Harv that you can do. I'm with you. So if I had my focus for this winter is going to be just getting back and keep doing what I've been doing. I've had really good luck following the personal best program. In the springtime, I ran a self-supported race run just from my house to Point Pelee, and I did that in 3:47. So I did a marathon in 3:47. That was the same as I ran the spring before. I did the Martian Marathon 3:47. So I know it's in me.
Mm-hmm.
If I would have, had an aid station and all that good support, and there was monster wind in the spring, I think it's in me to run that time. The key elements to me would be 6 days a week running easy, 1 day a week a really hard workout, and running the harder workouts harder.
Yes.
Harder. Not like sometimes I would say I would do like maybe 1 kilometer repeats or 800 meter repeats at 4:30, 4:20 per kilometer. Now it's going to be running maybe a little bit harder, like maybe 4 minutes.
Get her down to 4. Yes.
Yeah.
I find it hard when you're running and you're not fresh to get those fast pace, but they are important. I wouldn't say do them every day, but definitely put them into your workout.
Yep. And then another thing is a really key consistent long run, at least a 2-hour long run every once a week, and maybe peak out at a 3-hour run a month out.
Right.
We'll plan that out with our calendars.
Try and definitely get that. That would be another one for me, is get longer runs in, more time on my feet, because I don't want to get to that halfway or just over half, 30K maybe. I don't want to get to that, and I don't necessarily bonk out, but I lose the confidence.
Yeah.
I lose as soon as I start to drop that pace just a little bit. I start to lose the ability to maintain that pace.
Oh, and that's maybe another focus of those training runs is, sneaking in those finish fasts.
Finish fast, yeah.
Or portions where you're running at a pace to give you that confidence boost that when on race day, it's going to feel harder on race day. For all the folks saying they had their magical race and they ran amazing and it felt easier, sorry, you're the exception. For anyone listening, race day is going to feel harder, and you got to have that confidence when you get punched in the face that you don't slow down, that you keep on moving. Flores always gave me the advice of what he uses when it gets tough in those big races: concentrate on pushing that foot into the ground and behind you. Lawrence was talking about that too. It's 1 and 2, getting that stride. That's another thing, is keep practicing the Lawrence Van Lingen flow rope.
Yep.
The shape of running. I am going to go get a tire. I want to do the tire walking.
Backwards walking. Open up the hips.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, I think we covered a lot of great topics there. If you got your ballot selected, or if you're going to run for a charity, or if you qualified for any of the major marathons, cheers to you. Congratulations. If this is going to be your first marathon, we hope this episode helped a little bit. Got any questions? Feel free to email us, runegadepodcast@gmail.com. And you know what? We have 23 episodes out there right now. Amazing coaches, doctors, scientists, researchers, clinicians, professional athletes, folks who would done and are doing big things every day. And listen, they all have great nuggets of information that you can bring in to bring out your personal best in this first marathon. We're proud of you. You know what? We started off by saying it was this anatomy of a failed major. It was tongue in cheek.
We're not failed.
We're not
fail.
failures. We had a really good time, and it's fun to be able to run races with Harvey. And I'm looking forward to the London Marathon.
London.
You know what? Don't forget what's coming up.
I would mark this on your calendar. This is very important. The Windsor Waterfront Half Marathon and 5K. We're gonna throw out Todd's discount code for you.
If I can remember it, it's WWHMTM8, and it gets you 20% off your registration. And that is Sunday, September 14th, 2025.
It's going to be a great race, great view, flat, fast half marathon. Come set your PB in Windsor, Ontario, Canada.
The perfect race, the perfect time of year to help you PB in your fall marathon, if it's in October or even early November.
So. And it's not a world major. So all the problems we just talked about, you won't have them.
That's right. We know all the secrets in the course. We know which corners we can cut.
That's right.
Don't tell Ryan, if you're listening, we're going to be by the book.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to follow that line.
Yeah. I'm going to sneak around Riverside Drive and try to set my PB. I'm looking forward to that. That's a big race. And I like that big city racing's coming back to Windsor, Ontario. So Sunday, September 14th, 2025, we're running. We want to see you there. And thanks for listening. And thanks for joining, Harvey.
In studio today.
Woohoo! Awesome.
This is exciting.
Cheers.
I'm back.
And remember, in a world of runners, be a renegade.
Be a renegade.
And we thank you for joining us and being a renegade. You can watch the video of our podcasts on YouTube or Spotify, and we'd appreciate subscribing to our channels. You can find us on Instagram at UltramarathonMan and at Runkle Mark. And join our Facebook community of the Renegade Podcast. Or simply email us. We'd love to hear from you. It's runegadepodcast@gmail.com. That's RUNEGADE podcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And thank you again for listening and watching. And in a world of runners, be a renegade.